Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and a new series on a new car. You must have seen the thumbnail, so you know what we've bought. We've got a first generation Mini Cooper. I had a first generation Mini Cooper S many years ago. I had it brand new. I love the car, love how they drive. I've always been quite fond of the first generation Minis. This one I got basically as a sort of a project that I can work on around the other cars that we're rebuilding. So when I'm waiting on third parties, I'm always relying on their sort of timescale, when they can actually do the work, when we can get it into the workshop. If they get busy, then it can be a number of weeks or even months between getting that car back from them and then getting on with the next stage of the build. So this is going to be kind of like not a long-term project, but something that I can do in amongst and around the others. I've had a quick look around the car, but let's go and see what we've bought and start a new series on a Mini Cooper. So here's the car. As you can see, Mini Cooper first generation in hyper blue. I actually really like this colour, although you can't see a lot of it due to the amount of dirt on the car. The primary damage advertised with Copart is on this side. As you can see, it's taken quite a hefty side swipe. This is actual transfer from the other vehicle, so that'll actually come off, but we've got some quite heavy dents and ripples on here. So the easiest thing I think to do, first off, looking at what we need to do, is get this door replaced. The reason why I believe it's classed as structural is because it's actually taking a dent here and quite a serious dent here on the rear quarter. When the car arrived, it had the plastic trim on here, but it didn't look right to me because I could see this is actually part of the wheel arch liner, which has got blue paint all over it. So at some point this has been repaired. They've stuck the plastic cover back over the top to kind of hide this indent here. So we need to get that addressed, and we need to get this addressed as well, but I don't think it will require the rear quarter to be replaced. I think that'll pull out. I can't find any sort of damage behind here, so as soon as we get that pulled out, the wheel arch will then realign. Let's carry on. So wheels, they are absolutely filthy, scuffed up, so I think I'm going to have a go, rather than replacing them, I'm going to have a go at repainting them myself. I've done a couple of wheels in the past which haven't been done brilliantly, mainly down to the fact my prep needs more work. So I'm going to get onto doing all four wheels in this build. If we come around to the back, we can see that it's got an aftermarket exhaust, and that's real bugbear with me, the fact that people don't align them properly, so that needs some adjustment on it. However, looking at it, it's quite rusty, so I think we might go a bit sporty, maybe put a sporty exhaust on this, make it sound a bit better. It does sound quite loud as it is at the moment. Number plates need replacing because they've all started to sort of delaminate and they've got loads of dirt around them. Otherwise, from the back, it's not too bad. There's a little scuff, if I remember, on one of the corners, or I could be telling a lie. Yeah, little scuff just there, so we can get that sorted out as well. That's not a major issue. Moving around to the other side, we can see, well, hopefully you can see, there's a couple of ripples in this door here. So we have the option, we could also replace this door, or we could try and get that paintless dent repaired. I'll have a look at how much the cost of the doors are and work that out as well. The roof should be white, but it's absolutely caked in dirt. And then coming round to the front, and this is where it really is quite interesting, this is actually a different shade of blue in the middle here. So what's happened is somebody has masked up along these lines and resprayed this center section of the bonnet, and if we look here, there's actually an indent there, and this grille doesn't fit, and when you open up the bonnet, it has got quite a bit of damage behind here. So again, parts for these are quite cheap when you can get hold of them because there's so many being broken. So we might just replace the bonnet as well as a quick fix. And finally, and this is what I need to do some investigation work on, I think this is had a shunt at the front as well, because the tow eye cover's missing, this is not fitted properly, and if you can see, that fog light's loose and that one's solid, but it's really far back from where it should be. So let's cut to the interior and have a look and see where we are from an interior point of view. Yeah, it wouldn't be a Copart car for me if it wasn't filthy, and it doesn't take a genius to figure out it's had a dog in it at some point, considering the fact we've got a dog blanket. Now you have to kind of wonder what caused the accident and why has this car been so badly maintained. Well, we have a little theory behind that, that when you've got a bottle of port sat on the passenger seat, okay, this one's not opened, maybe somebody that has a slight drink issue, who knows. But interestingly, I did a car vertical test, check on this car. So I'll turn that around. So I did a car vertical check on this car, and what car vertical is, if you haven't seen from one of my previous videos, it's an online check. So you put the details of the vehicle in, and it goes off, and it basically grabs as much information as it can on a car. It checks for, like, you know, has it ever been registered in an accident, has it been used as a taxi, has it ever been stolen. And the car vertical check also goes out and searches for any pictures of the vehicle where it might have been listed up for sale previously. So I found pictures of this car on the car vertical check from May 2020, so about a year and 3 or 4 months ago, and it was immaculate. It looked fantastic. The wheels looked good, the bodywork looked good, the interior was all really nice and tidy, and that was about 2,000, just under 2,000 miles driving ago. And so in that time, this has not been looked after. It has basically been used and abused. And the one of the most disgusting parts in this, and I'll just show you, is actually on the floor. Look at that mold. That is horrid. Paw prints, muddy paw prints all over the back, dog hair everywhere. So let's see if we can give this car a bit of love. Let's get it cleaned up, get all the outside washed down, get some of that transfer off, and then strip the interior as much as we can without going too crazy, and get it a good deep clean, because it seriously needs some TLC. I mean, down the center console you've got dog hair, down here you've got like what looks like tissues, and yeah, not nice at all. So yeah, so let's cut now, and I'll post, before I do the wash, the pictures from the car vertical, and a bit of information on that, so you can see how the check works. Just to be clear, I'm not sponsored by Car Vertical. It's just one of the useful sort of websites that I get information from, just like when I use the Carly app, and the Carly app basically does like the data checks on the car. So yeah, we'll go from there. So I'll cut back in a second, post the car vertical information, and then we'll get on with the wash. The reg in at the top, and then I think you can buy like 2 reports for like £16, and it does various different checks. So you can see here, mileage okay, theft okay, accident, vehicle was damaged, which we know about because we bought it through Copart, and we can go through and look at all the activity. So spotted activity was manufactured on the 1st of the 1st 2006 and registered in the UK in March 2006. Was inspected, but the MOT test is the first one we got there, and it just tells you all the different information. So any sort of notifications, any advisories, number plate change from a private reg, and then we keep going down, looks through all these different checks. Stolen vehicle check, so looks in all these different countries to find out if the vehicle's ever been stolen. Mileage, we can kind of go back and we can look at the mileage, make sure there's no sort of deviation there and anything like that. And then go down a bit further, damage record, September 2021 in the United Kingdom. It checks all these different countries. Written off there, so the 8th of September 2021, does all these different checks, really good information. Valuation report, which we'll take with a pinch, because obviously the car has got a category against it, so obviously it won't sell for the market value, it will sell for less than that. and then we can look at the specs. Tells us all the details of the vehicle spec, and then these are all the options that the car came with. And then we can come down, and these are photos that basically the car vertical check has pulled from online. And obviously this was in May 2020. And you can see how clean the car is at that point. So just over a year. And it's now got into its current state. Look at the interior. Interior is nice and tidy. No sign of any dogs or mould. And then it gives you quite a good little checklist if you're looking to buy this particular vehicle. So check condition of tyres, wear of head gasket failure, check all the fluid levels, check the colour of the smoke, check body condition for any signs of any dents. So it's a really good comprehensive report. I'll put a link to the car vertical check in the description, but if you're looking to buy a car and you just want to check it out, make sure it's got no sort of like history, hasn't been used as a taxi or anything like that, this is the sort of ideal thing that I use. Let's get back to the car and carry on with the video.
That's me in the picture.
Come on, in. Daddy's got to do the car. Okay, so that's the car all washed down, thanks to my little helper in there who's raiding every snack cupboard for every single bit of chocolate I've got at the unit. So as you can see, it's cleaned up really well. we've got a lot of the dirt off, and the most important thing is there was a black mark up here which actually was just transfer, so that's come off. So all we need to do is get the dent repairs done and the bodywork repair done on this area here. I literally have just ordered a door, managed to find one locally, right colour, in good condition, and that's going to be, I'll probably pick it up tomorrow, but that was only about £60.
Yeah.
And I've got a door handle to go as well. Is that right? Yeah? Yeah. So I've got a shadow. So only things I need to do is basically get the glue residue from the Copart sticker off, and a couple of the bits of the lettering off the windscreen there as well. But yeah, I think I'm going to take my daughter home so I can actually make some progress a bit quicker than I have on washing the car. Just got her own chocolate. Yeah, okay, right, well let's get you home.
I got this all.
Back in a minute. Right, so we're back on the Mini. Obviously we've just done the wash, that was the previous day. And now let's just have a recap, let's get on with this interior. So we've got our dog mat, loads of mud over the seats, so I'm guessing where the previous owner's dogs climbed all over it. We've got the remainder of the door handle, dog hair all throughout. I've already taken the boot liner out because that was really damp, so that's been out overnight drying, and I've actually ordered these replacement bungs here from BMW, so they're ready to collect. So let's get everything stripped out. I think I'm actually going to take the seats out, so the first thing to do is to disconnect the battery, and then we'll remove the seats, give us better access to the carpet, and remove all the loose debris from inside the car. Right, so that's got out the bed for the seat. Now I've got bolts here, 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 here. They all need to come out because they're holding the rear uprights to the seats in. And then we've got one more bolt just here. So I think if I take all those out, then these should just lift out. Let's see how we get on with that. Okay, so we got the seats out. Don't worry about Ben in the background, he's just trying to change his suspension setup. So on the back seats you've got that plate and on the back of the plate you've got a little screw here, sorry, a bolt here as well. You take that out and that allows you to then, I can properly show you, shouldn't have put that all the way back in. You can then move this up to the point where you can lift the center pin that sat between the two seats out, lift the seats out, and then on the end of the seats is basically like a little spline, and that spline basically you've just got to twist around to get the seat into the right position, and it'll just literally slide out of the sides down here. So let's get on to the front seats. But already, I don't know if you can see that, it's pretty mucky under there where they've been sat, and yeah, I just don't know how anyone can let a car get this bad. Right, so front seat should be fairly straightforward. You've got a bolt at the front and the back of each of the rails. Get those four out and then the whole seat should just lift straight out. Right, so that's the seats out, so it's quite straightforward. Like I said, just the 4 bolts there, and then you've got these 2 little connectors for the airbag and the sensor in the seats. Right, we can now properly see. I mean, you've got a big mould build up down there, so I'll be sticking a mask on when I go around to hooving that. And then yeah, you've got all the debris that's sat underneath there. There's 10p down there. But it's going to be so much easier now to scrub these carpets and wet vac them out without the seats in the way, and I'll be able to get down all the centre tunnel here, clean all that out properly. So there's the state of our seats. The back one is just horrendous. So let's get these hoovered, scrubbed and wet vacked, and then they can sit and dry. Right, so that is the quick hoover done. Got all the loose debris out. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit this with some strong fabric cleaner, try and break that down a bit, and then I've got a brush attachment which goes on top of the end of the drill, and that's just going to scrub all these carpets, and then we'll get the wet back in here. Okay, so that's all the interior sort of scrubbed up with our attachment here, which we have on the drill. That kind of just like agitates all of the chemicals into the fabric, and then we use the wet vac to kind of draw all that out. It's got pretty much all of that horrible mold. I've got a feeling it was something like a hot chocolate or something that had been spilt in there and just left to kind of get worse. So this has all been shampooed, scrubbed and wet vacked. I haven't addressed anything on the plastics yet because I'll get round to those in a little bit, but now let's get on to the the seats, sorry. Get those lined up outside, get them scrubbed down, same sort of process. I doubt I'll use the brush attachment on these because it's quite close to the leather where all the fabric joins, and we don't want to cause any damage. We're just going to give those a nice scrub by hand with a sort of a stiff brush, and then give a wet vac on those as well. So let's get on to the seats. Okay, so that's all the seats dry. There's a massive improvement. Still got to clean up some of the leather areas down here, but I've got a leather cleaner which I'll use for that. Next thing I'm going to tackle, put the steam cleaner out. We're going to steam clean all the rails, get all this gunk out of here, and then I'll re-grease the rails before putting them back in the car. But yeah, really happy how that's come out. Oh, and over there, which is still in the sun, is the boot liner, which is still a bit wet. Right, let's get on to the steam cleaning. Okay, so final step before I put the seats back in, I've just treated all the carpet with a special enzyme inhibitor, and what that does is it basically stops any bacterial growth. So where we had the mold growing in the corner over there, we don't want that to come back, so I've just literally saturated all the fabric with that enzyme agent. That's going to take about half an hour to dry, and then we'll get the seats back in. So there we go, there's the seats all reinstalled, very simple, just like the removal process. 4 bolts, 2 little electrical connectors underneath the seats. The one key thing is when you put the seat back in is to make sure you feed the wires in the exact same way that they came out. It would have been very difficult for me to show you because it's quite dark down there and difficult to get the camera angle, but yeah, let's get the battery back on, make sure we've got no warning lights and go from there. Okay, so that's it all done. So much cleaner. Feels really fresh now in here. So all the carpets have been shampooed, deep cleaned, scrubbed, wet vaxed, wiped down the plastics. There's still a couple of marks on the doors, but I'm going to go around and give it a deeper clean after we've done all the work on it. The boot lining has been reinstalled. I've still got those 2 rubber bungs on order I need to go and pick up. Cleaned down all of the parcel shelf, the rear seats, absolutely everything. Obviously we also did a wash, but overnight the car got a bit dirty. But even just giving it that initial clean, the wheels have transformed from like a horrible browny yellowy colour to a white. Still got the door to sort out, but yeah, I think ultimately where this was, I need to get the residue from that Union Jack off as well, where this was to where it is now in just one episode is a nice clean transformation. So I'm going to have a tidy up in here and then I'll get cracking with doing the editing and getting this video up. I think while the Mini's in, I might start the next episode because we have a replacement driver's door. So that'll make episode 2, and quite possibly I might even change out the passenger door because now I've got it in on the light. I don't know if you can see that. There are ripples in the bottom of it. There's quite a heavy sort of impact there, which is quite flat, and that door is in really nice condition, or appears to be in really nice condition, and it is as what was in the photos. And the benefit is that there is the passenger door available as well from the same supplier, which is really handy because they're local in Peterborough, so it takes me about 10 minutes to go over there and actually collect the item. They didn't unfortunately have a bonnet or a front bumper, so I'm still on a hunt for a bonnet and a front bumper because I ultimately think if we can buy a replacement bonnet, we won't have to worry about the fact that there is a little bit of damage on the front end. We won't have to pay for it to be painted if I can get it in the right colour, and it's just going to present the car in a whole better way. Sorry about the abrupt ending there. At that point the camera decided just to switch off, so I didn't quite finish what I was saying, but that does bring us to the end of the current episode. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the start of the work on the Mini. If you do like what you see, please hit that thumbs up, and if you could just take a second, pause the video, hit that subscribe button. It massively helps me, helps support the channel. And you know, if we can keep growing the way we are at the moment, I mean, we're almost at 200 subscribers. If we can go in a few months, I've only got sort of, I think about 10, maybe 11 videos up now, but I'm really happy with the progress that I'm making on the cars. I say the Fiat's up for sale, so I had quite a bit of interest on that, so hopefully that will go soon, and then we can take the money from the Fiat, plumb that into another bigger build. Trying to find something a bit more interesting to do as the next build, something maybe a bit sporty. But yeah, thanks again to everyone who's watched and supporting the channel. I can't show my appreciation more or get my words out, but thanks very much, and I'll catch you in the next one.